One of my favorites, Law and Order. We know you love it too, so let's see what's happening in this one and what y'all think about it.
Who owns Shaw's jewelry?
Ezra. My father gave him the business.
And how much did Ezra pay you?
$60,000 a year.
And how much money did you earn last year from Mr. Tasjan's money laundering operation?
About $140,000.
And your brother wanted to take that away, huh? Must have made you mad. Mad enough to kill?
Objection.
Withdrawn. One witness. That's all they have.
So that whole question, withdrawn thing, right? You've seen that before. It does happen in the courtroom sometimes, right? Because the jury has heard it. And once they hear it, they can't unhear it. No matter what the judge tells them to disregard or forget they've heard it. So a skilled attorney will oftentimes ask a question they know is never going to be answered, but it lays that seed or that foundation for the jury to start thinking about things in a different way. And that's what's happening here. My guess is they're trying to point the finger at this guy on the stand for committing a murder. And, you know, they've already got the jury thinking it, even though the question was withdrawn. So let's see what happens next.
The victim's brother. If you fully believe Isaac Shaw is telling the truth, convict. Why not? Isaac Shaw lied to the grand jury. He lied to his family. He lied to the police, to the prosecutors. At one point, he actually confessed to having killed him. Of course, he could be telling the truth now. Sure, it's possible Joseph Tasjan murdered Ezra Shaw. You may even think it's probable. But in that case, there's only one thing you can do. Your duty is clear. You must return a verdict of not guilty. Because in this system, probably is not good enough. You must be convinced beyond a reasonable doubt.
Hear that all the time in criminal cases, right? Reasonable doubt, reasonable doubt, reasonable doubt. And that's what a lot of criminal defense attorneys will use in their defense in closing argument, which is, hey, the prosecution hasn't met the burden. The prosecution has to prove the case. The defendant is innocent until proven guilty under our system. It's a good system. Should have to prove it first. But the defendant doesn't have to prove they're innocent. The prosecution has to prove that they're guilty. And if they don't meet that burden, beyond a reasonable doubt, you get a not guilty and you get to walk away.
Isaac Shaw has told so many lies that it would be unreasonable not to doubt his testimony.
If you can show that a witness has lied, no one's going to believe a thing that witness has to say. Attacking credibility, if done effectively in the courtroom, is a witness wrecker, if you want to call it that. Because once you show that person has lied, it's all over for that witness. Shouldn't have been on the stand to begin with, if they're going to get caught in a lie. And that's what this attorney is doing here, try to win the case for his client.
Yes, Isaac Shaw should have come forward immediately and said that Joseph Tasjan savagely murdered my brother. And he should have stood up in the grand jury and said, those three boys are innocent. Joseph Tasjan's the killer. But he didn't do that. Was he immoral? Was he evil? Isaac Shaw was terrified. He'd eyewitnessed an unspeakable horror, the brutalization of a family member. And it was his greatest fear to ever see that happen again. So why would Isaac Shaw concoct a story like this? The fears of Isaac Shaw, they don't make his testimony any the less credible, and they certainly don't make Joseph Tasjan any the less guilty. Joseph Tasjan is guilty of murder in the second degree.
So prosecutors trying to kind of rehabilitate the case, right? Giving some reasons why a witness said what he said when he said it. And then again, pointing to the guilt of the defendant, recentering the case on the guilt of the defendant, keeping that jury focused on that element. There we go. Oh, and here comes the verdict. It's your favorite part of the show, right? Well, we're not going to tell you what happens. You're going to have to watch the show. I'm just kidding. Let's see what happens.
On the sole count of the indictment, murder in the second degree, how does the jury find?
All right, just based on that short part that you saw, what do you think? Guilty or not guilty? Okay, you've decided. I'm going to go with guilty.
We find the defendant not guilty.
Damn it! Those of you out there that said not guilty, you're probably like, see, I told you he was not guilty. That lawyer was wrong. Well, you gotta love Law and Order. Thank you and good night.